Lieutenant Commander Park Jin-ho stood perfectly still in Admiral Kim's office, his face betraying none of the surprise he felt as he read the mission brief. His military career had taken him to the farthest reaches of known space, facing down hostile forces and navigating delicate peacekeeping operations. But this was different. Bodyguard duty, Admiral. With respect, there are others better suited for this assignment, Jin-ho said, his voice level despite his frustration. Admiral Kim leaned forward across her desk. She was a small woman with a stern face that had earned her the nickname Steel Kim among the lower ranks. This isn't ordinary protection detail, Commander. Look at them. Jin-ho turned to face the two figures who had been standing silently by the viewport. The Lumidary twins were immediately recognizable by their luminescent skin, which glowed with a soft blue light that seemed to pulse gently. They were tall and slender, with features that appeared almost human except for their large, almond-shaped eyes that contained no pupils, just swirling pools of silver light. Commander Park, the Admiral continued, these sisters possess exceptional empathic abilities that make them targets. Their safety is paramount to the upcoming peace negotiations. The twins stepped forward in perfect synchronization and bowed deeply, their movements graceful and fluid. Jin-ho sighed. I'm a soldier, not a babysitter. Their last 3 protectors were found dead. Admiral Kim replied flatly. You're qualified for this assignment because you're immune to basic empathic probing. That makes you unpredictable to their enemies. That caught Jin-ho's attention. He had undergone special mental training during his Black Ops days, a program designed to shield operatives from psychic interference. It was a rare skill, and not one he often discussed. The Syndicate, he asked, naming the notorious criminal organization that had been growing in power throughout the outer systems. Among others, the Admiral confirmed. The Lumidary hold significant influence in the Galactic Coalition. Their empathic abilities make them exceptional negotiators. They can literally feel whether someone is being honest. The upcoming peace treaty with the Vosgian Empire could end centuries of border disputes, but there are many who profit from continued conflict. The twins exchanged glances, their skin briefly flashing purple, a reaction Jin-ho couldn't interpret. We do not wish to be a burden, the twin on the left said softly. Her voice carried a musical quality, like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. But we are grateful, added the other, completing her sister's thought with the same melodic tone. Era and Mina, Admiral Kim said, gesturing to each respectively. Daughters of High Ambassador Lun of the Lumidary Collective. You'll be escorting them to the Peace Summit on Proxima Station. It's a 3-week journey, followed by however long the negotiations take. Jin-ho studied the twins more carefully. They were identical in every visible way, with the same flowing silver-white hair that seemed to float around their heads as if underwater. The only difference he could detect was that Era's luminescence pulsed at a slightly faster rhythm than her sister's. What exactly happened to the previous protectors? Jin-ho asked. The Admiral's expression darkened. The first was poisoned during a diplomatic function on Centauri Prime. The second was caught in what appeared to be a shuttle malfunction, though sabotage is suspected. The third, she paused. The third disappeared along with the twins during transit. We found him 2 days later, floating in space. The twins were recovered from an escape pod, traumatized but physically unharmed. Jin-ho turned back to the Lumidary sisters. How did you escape? Mina spoke first this time. We sensed the danger moments before the attack. We managed to get Protector Sung to an escape pod, Era continued. But he forced us inside and sealed the door, Mina finished. He sacrificed himself, Jin-ho concluded. The twins' skin darkened to a deep blue, which Jin-ho suspected indicated sadness or remorse. The stakes are high, Commander, Admiral Kim said. The Lumidary Council is considering withdrawing from the coalition entirely if we can't guarantee the safety of their representatives. That would be disastrous for peace efforts in this quadrant. Jin-ho knew what that meant. Without the Luminary's diplomatic influence, the fragile alliance of worlds that made up the coalition could fracture, potentially leading to new conflicts across multiple systems. "When do we leave?" he asked, already mentally preparing a list of equipment and security protocols. "Tomorrow at 600. You'll take the diplomatic cruiser Solaris. Small crew, enhanced security systems. Your quarters have been arranged adjacent to the sisters." The twins stepped forward again. "Commander Park," Era began, "there is something you should know about our species. Our biology requires certain accommodations," Minna continued. Jinho raised an eyebrow. "Accommodations? The Luminary are empathic symbionts," Admiral Kim explained. "They exchange emotional and psychic energy, especially during rest cycles. It's how they maintain their biological equilibrium." "Meaning?" "Meaning they need physical proximity to those they trust during sleep periods," the Admiral said matter-of-factly. "It's not a preference, Commander. It's a biological necessity." Jinho blinked, the only outward sign of his surprise. "You're saying they need to sleep close to me?" "We do not need direct contact," Era clarified quickly, her skin flashing that purple color again. "But proximity helps stabilize our energy fields," Minna added. "Particularly in stressful situations," Era finished. Jinho looked back at Admiral Kim, who shrugged. "The mission brief contains details on Luminary biology and customs. I suggest you review it thoroughly before departure." The commander took a deep breath. This was certainly not what he had expected when he'd been summoned to headquarters. But orders were orders, and the safety of the coalition could depend on these two alien women. "Understood, Admiral," he said finally. "I'll ensure they reach the summit safely." As the twins bowed again in thanks, their skin glowing brightly with what might have been relief, Jinho couldn't shake the feeling that this assignment would change his life in ways he couldn't yet imagine. The diplomatic cruiser Solaris moved smoothly through the void of space, its advanced engines barely making a sound as it carried its precious cargo toward Proxima Station. Jinho had spent the first 2 days familiarizing himself with every corner of the ship, memorizing escape routes and establishing security protocols with the small crew. The twins had kept mostly to themselves, meditating in their quarters or quietly observing the stars from the observation deck. Their glowing skin shifted through subtle color variations that Jinho was slowly learning to interpret. Blue for calm, purple for embarrassment, a bright yellow when they were curious about something. On the 3rd day, Jinho escorted Era and Mina to meet with a coalition representative who had boarded at a fuel stop. The meeting was supposed to be confidential. Only Admiral Kim and the ship's captain knew about it. "The eastern corridor leads directly to the conference room," Jinho explained as they walked. "Stay close." The twins moved in perfect sync beside him, their footsteps so light they seemed to float rather than walk. Jinho had begun to appreciate their quiet grace, so different from the loud, boisterous soldiers he typically worked with. Halfway down the corridor, the overhead lights flickered once, then twice. Jinho stopped instantly, his hand moving to his sidearm. Years of combat experience had taught him to trust his instincts, and right now every nerve in his body was on high alert. "Something's wrong," he whispered. Before the twins could respond, a maintenance panel in the wall slid open, and 3 figures in dark combat gear emerged, weapons already raised. "Down!" Jinho shouted, pushing the twins behind him with one arm while drawing his blaster with the other. The first attacker fired, the energy beam narrowly missing Jinho's head. He returned fire, his shot catching the assailant in the shoulder, spinning them around. What happened next caught Jinho completely by surprise. Era's hand gripped his shoulder from behind, and suddenly a wave of energy surged through his body. The world seemed to slow around him. He could see the second attacker's finger tightening on the trigger, could track the minute adjustment in aim. Jinho fired twice more, movements impossibly fast and precise. Both shots found their target. The third attacker shifted aim toward the twins. Jinho tried to move to intercept, but he wouldn't be fast enough. A shimmering wall of blue-white light appeared between the twins and their attacker. Mina stood with her arms outstretched, her entire body glowing intensely as the energy barrier she created absorbed the incoming fire. Jin-Ho used the moment to take down the final assailant with a clean shot to the chest. "Are you hurt?" he asked, turning to check on the twins. Both shook their heads, though their skin had paled to an almost white glow. "Fear," he assumed. "What did you do to me?" Jin-Ho asked Ara. "Energy transfer," she explained quietly. "We can temporarily share our life force with others." "And that?" He pointed to where Mina's barrier had been. "Defense mechanism," Mina said, "but it drains us significantly." Indeed, both twins now looked exhausted. Their normally bright luminescence dimmed considerably. Jin-Ho crouched next to one of the fallen attackers, checking for identification. "Nothing. Professional work." "We must leave immediately," Jin-Ho ordered, standing up. "Someone knew your exact location. The meeting was a setup." He activated his comm link. "Captain, security breach on level 3. 3 hostiles neutralized. Lock down the ship and prepare for immediate departure." "Where will we go?" Ara asked, her voice trembling slightly. "I have a safe house on the station's lower levels," Jin-Ho replied. "We'll go dark until I can figure out who's leaking information." Within an hour, they had docked at the station and slipped away from the Solaris, using service corridors and maintenance tunnels to avoid security cameras. Jin-Ho led them deep into the station's underbelly, where the gleaming surfaces of the upper levels gave way to utilitarian metal and dim lighting. The safe house was little more than a reinforced room with basic amenities, a small kitchen area, bathroom, and a single sleeping platform. "It's not much," Jin-Ho apologized, securing the heavy door behind them. "But no one knows about this place except me." The twins looked around the sparse room, their skin shifting to a muted orange that Jin-Ho hadn't seen before. "It will serve," Ara said simply. As night cycle approached, Jin-Ho noticed the twins growing increasingly restless. Their glow pulsed erratically, and they kept exchanging glances. "What's wrong?" he finally asked. Ara struggled to find the words. "We need to restore our energy," Mina continued. "The defense barrier depleted us significantly." "Can you eat something? Rest?" Jin-Ho suggested. The twins exchanged another look. "It is not that simple," Ara explained. "We need proximity during rest cycles to regulate our energy fields, especially after exertion." "It is not." Ara struggled again, her skin flashing purple. "Intimate," Mina supplied. "It is survival. Our energy must be balanced through proximity to those we trust." Jin-Ho's discomfort was evident on his face. During the past 2 nights aboard the Solaris, they had slept in separate quarters. He hadn't yet had to confront this aspect of lumidary biology detailed in the mission brief. "How close?" he asked cautiously. "Within arm's reach is sufficient," Ara explained. "We do not require contact, merely proximity." Jin-Ho looked at the single sleeping platform, then back at the twins. His duty was clear, regardless of his personal discomfort. "We can take shifts sleeping," he suggested. "One of us always on watch." The twins nodded gratefully. That night, Jin-Ho sat with his back against the wall, blaster ready on his lap, while the twins slept on the platform behind him. Even with his eyes focused on the door, he was acutely aware of the soft blue glow emanating from their resting forms, casting gentle shadows around the small room. Despite the danger they faced, there was something strangely peaceful about the moment. The twins' presence seemed to fill the room with a calm he hadn't experienced in years of military service. Jin-Ho wondered briefly what Admiral Kim would say if she could see him now, the decorated soldier who had once led commando raids against pirate strongholds, now playing guardian to 2 alien women who glowed in the dark. His life had certainly taken an unexpected turn. Jin-Ho woke with a start, his hand automatically reaching for the blaster beside him. It took him a moment to remember where he was. Another temporary shelter, the fourth in 2 weeks since the attack on the Solaris. This one was an abandoned mining outpost on a small moon. Not comfortable, but secure. He felt a gentle pulse of concern that wasn't his own. After 14 days of sleeping in close proximity to the Luminary twins, he had grown accustomed to the strange sensation of their emotions occasionally bleeding into his consciousness. "You're overthinking it," Jin-Ho told himself as he felt the twins' energy fields intertwining with his own consciousness. The sleeping arrangement had become routine, but the empathic bond was strengthening, making it impossible to hide his thoughts or feelings. Era sat up from her sleeping mat, her skin glowing a soft blue in the dim room. "You had the dream again," she said. It wasn't a question. Jin-Ho nodded. The dream was always the same, the ambush that had killed his former squad 5 years ago. He had been the only survivor. "I'm fine," he said, standing up and stretching. Old memories. Mina stirred as well, her luminescence brightening as she woke. Unlike her sister, who always moved with deliberate grace, Mina stretched like a cat, limbs extending in all directions. "Your pain is deep," she observed, "but healing." Jin-Ho frowned. "Are you reading my mind?" "No," Era said. "Just your emotions. They color the air around you." "Like a storm cloud," Mina added, "but with breaks of sunlight now." Jin-Ho busied himself with checking their supplies, uncomfortable with how easily they seemed to read him. It had been years since anyone had gotten close enough to notice his inner struggles. "Your embarrassment is unnecessary," Era told him, moving to prepare their morning meal. "In our culture, this connection is common among family units." "We're not family," Jin-Ho pointed out, perhaps more sharply than he intended. Mina smiled, her skin shifting to a warm golden hue. "Yet you would die to protect us. Is that not what family does?" Her words caught him off guard. She was right. In the 2 weeks since the attack, he had thrown himself between the twins and danger multiple times without hesitation. It was more than duty now. "I should check the perimeter," he said, avoiding the subject. Outside, the small moon's thin atmosphere created a perpetual twilight. Jin-Ho walked the circuit around their shelter, checking security sensors and looking for any signs of intrusion. The silence was broken only by the occasional ping from his handheld scanner. When he returned, the twins had prepared a simple meal of synthetic protein and the special nutrient solution they required. They ate in comfortable silence until Jin-Ho's secure communicator beeped, a rare occurrence since they had gone into hiding. "It's from Admiral Kim," he said, scanning the encrypted message. His expression darkened as he read. "What is it?" Era asked, her skin pulsing with concern. Jin-Ho looked up. "A transmission from Admiral Kim confirmed my suspicions. Trust no one. The leak comes from within our ranks." "That is troubling news," Mina said. "It means we can't trust the regular channels anymore," Jin-Ho explained. "No coalition safe houses, no official transport. We're completely on our own until we reach Proxima Station." The twins exchanged one of their meaningful glances, a silent communication that Jin-Ho had learned meant they were deciding something important. "Perhaps it is time we shared the full truth with you," Era said finally. Jin-Ho raised an eyebrow. The full truth. That night, after Jin-Ho had secured the shelter for the evening cycle, the three sat close together in the small common area. The twins' skin glowed more intensely than usual, creating a circle of blue light around them. "We are not merely carrying information," Era explained, her voice soft but clear. "We are the negotiators. Our empathic abilities allow us to detect deception in any species, which makes us invaluable," Mina continued, "and dangerous to those who profit from conflict." Jin-Ho leaned forward. "I was told you were just messengers, delivering terms from your people to the Vosgian Empire." Era shook her head. "That was the cover story, to protect us. In truth, we are to be the mediators of the actual negotiations. Our abilities go beyond simple empathy." Minna explained. When in close proximity to others, we can create a field of truth. No one within it can speak falsely without us knowing. More importantly, Era added, those within our field find it difficult to maintain deception. They become more open to compromise, more willing to find common ground. Jinho's eyes widened as he understood. You're not just negotiators. You're the key to the entire peace process. The twins nodded in unison. The Vosgian Empire has been at war with various coalition worlds for over a century, Minna said. Millions have died. And many powerful people have become wealthy from supplying those wars, Era continued. They would do anything to prevent peace. Jinho stood and paced the small room. That explains the escalating attacks. But why didn't Admiral Kim tell me the full story from the beginning? Protection, Minna said simply. If you were captured and interrogated, I would only know what they wanted me to know, Jinho finished. Basic security protocol. Are you angry? Era asked, her skin shifting to a concerned purple. Jinho considered the question. Was he angry? He had been sent on this mission with incomplete information, facing dangers greater than he had anticipated. Yet looking at the twins now, he found he couldn't summon any real resentment. No, he said finally. I understand the need for compartmentalized information. But from now on, no more secrets between us. If we're going to survive this, we need to trust each other completely. The twins' skin brightened with relief. There is one more thing, Minna said hesitantly. Our empathic bond with you has grown stronger than we anticipated. What does that mean exactly? Jinho asked. It means, Era explained, that we are becoming attuned to you in ways usually reserved for our own kind. We can sense your emotions more clearly, and you may begin to sense ours more distinctly as well. In time, Minna added, you might even be able to sense our presence, even when we are not in the same room. Jinho absorbed this information silently. 2 weeks ago, the idea of an empathic bond with alien beings would have disturbed him. Now, it felt almost natural. Will it affect my performance? He asked practically. The twins smiled at his soldier's mindset. If anything, Era said, it will enhance our ability to work together. In dangerous situations, we will anticipate each other's actions more effectively. Jinho nodded. Then I see no problem with it. As they prepared for sleep that night, Jinho found himself less self-conscious about their proximity. The twins settled on either side of him, their soft glow creating a cocoon of gentle light. Thank you, Era whispered, for protecting us. For understanding us, Minna added. Jinho closed his eyes, feeling their calm presence beside him. Get some rest. Tomorrow we plan our route to Proxima Station. As sleep claimed him, Jinho realized with some surprise that for the first time in years, he felt something like peace. Jinho studied the holographic map of Proxima Station, plotting their approach route carefully. After 3 weeks of constant movement, always one step ahead of their pursuers, they were finally nearing their destination. The peace conference would begin in just 2 days. We'll dock at the maintenance bay here, he said, pointing to a small entry point on the station's underside. Less security, but also less surveillance. My contact will meet us and provide diplomatic credentials. Era and Minna stood close together, their luminescence pulsing in that synchronized rhythm Jinho had come to find comforting. Over the weeks, he had learned to read the subtle variations in their glow almost as well as they read his emotions. Before we reach the station, Era said, there is one more secure location where we can rest. Minna nodded. An abandoned mining outpost in Sector 7. Coalition records listed as a secure fallback location. Jinho frowned. How do you know about that? It's classified information. Admiral Kim included it in our emergency protocols, Era explained. It's not in regular use, but it's maintained for situations exactly like ours. Jinho considered their options. They were all exhausted from weeks of constant vigilance. One last secure rest before the high-pressure environment of the peace conference made sense. All right, he agreed. But we stay alert. No letting our guard down until we're safely at the conference. The mining outpost appeared on their sensors 8 hours later, a small structure attached to an asteroid at the edge of the Proxima system. It looked unremarkable, which was the point of such locations. As their small craft approached the docking bay, Jin-Ho felt a strange sensation in his stomach. At first, he attributed it to the irregular gravity field around the asteroid, but as they drew closer, the feeling intensified. "Something feels wrong," he muttered, hand on his weapon. The twins exchanged worried glances. "Your instincts have served us well so far," Era said quietly. "Should we abort?" Minna asked. Jin-Ho checked the sensors again. Nothing unusual appeared on the scans. The identification codes matched coalition protocols. Everything looked correct. And yet, "Let's proceed with caution," he decided. "Stay behind me at all times. First sign of trouble, we retreat to the ship." The docking sequence completed automatically, and the airlock cycled open with a soft hiss. Jin-Ho stepped through first, blaster drawn, eyes scanning the dimly lit receiving area. Empty. The air smelled stale but breathable. "Clear," he called back, and the twins followed him into the outpost. They had taken only a few steps when Jin-Ho heard the unmistakable sound of heavy blast doors sealing behind them. Their escape route was cut off. "Ambush," he shouted, pushing the twins behind a stack of cargo containers as lights suddenly flooded the area. "Commander Park," a deep voice echoed through the chamber. At last. Jin-Ho recognized the voice immediately, and his blood ran cold. General Lee stepped from the shadows on the far side of the room, flanked by 6 armed mercenaries in black combat gear. The general was a senior coalition military leader, responsible for defense strategy across 3 sectors. "General," Jin-Ho acknowledged, keeping his weapon trained on the older man. "This is unexpected." "I'm sure it is," Lee replied with a thin smile. "Though I must say, you've led us on quite the chase." 3 weeks, Commander. Impressive. Jin-Ho's mind raced. General Lee had access to all coalition security protocols and safe houses. He would know about this outpost, could have been monitoring it for their arrival. "Stand down, Park," the general ordered. "Hand over the aliens, and I'll ensure you're treated fairly at your court-martial." "Court-martial?" Jin-Ho questioned, buying time as he assessed their options. 6 mercenaries, all heavily armed. The general himself, who Jin-Ho knew was an experienced combat veteran despite his age. "For treason," Lee clarified. "Consorting with aliens against coalition interests." "These are official coalition ambassadors," Jin-Ho countered. "I'm following direct orders from Admiral Kim." Lee's face darkened. "Kim is weak. She believes in this fantasy of interspecies harmony." He gestured dismissively toward the twins. "Park," the general nodded. "Disappointing to find you consorting with aliens. These creatures and their kind will erode human dominance in the galaxy." Jin-Ho positioned himself more firmly before the twins. "The coalition stands for unity, sir, not supremacy." "Then the coalition is weak," Lee spat. He signaled to his mercenaries. "Take them. Kill Park if necessary. But I want the aliens alive." The mercenaries advanced, weapons raised. Jin-Ho calculated their odds of survival at near 0. Even with his combat skills, he couldn't take down 6 armed professionals while protecting the twins. Then he felt them, Era and Minna, pressing against his back, their hands touching his shoulders. A familiar sensation began to flow through him, but stronger than ever before. "We can amplify your strength if you allow it," Era whispered. "Our bond is strong enough now," Minna added. Jin-Ho hesitated only for a second before giving a small nod. Immediately, a surge of energy unlike anything he'd ever experienced rushed through his body. His vision sharpened dramatically, colors becoming more vivid, details more precise. He could see the minute adjustments in the mercenaries' aim, could almost anticipate their movements before they made them. The world seemed to slow around him as lumidary energy transformed him into something more than human. The first mercenary fired, but Jin-Ho was already moving, his reflexes impossibly fast. He dodged the energy blast and returned fire in one fluid motion, his shot finding its target with perfect precision. Two more mercenaries converged from different angles. In normal circumstances, Jin-Ho would have been overwhelmed, but now he moved between their fire with uncanny grace, each step precisely calculated, each shot finding its mark. General Lee watched in stunned disbelief as Jin-Ho systematically neutralized his entire squad in less than 30 seconds. "What are you?" Lee demanded, drawing his own sidearm. Jin-Ho advanced toward the general, his movements smooth and controlled. "I am what the coalition truly stands for," he answered. "Cooperation, unity, different species working together, becoming stronger than they could ever be alone." Lee fired wildly, but Jin-Ho easily sidestepped the shots. In one swift motion, he closed the distance between them and disarmed the general, forcing him to his knees. "It's over, sir," Jin-Ho said firmly. Behind him, the twins stepped forward, their luminescence brighter than he'd ever seen it, filling the room with blue-white light. "Your hatred burns bright," Era observed, looking down at the general. "But there is fear beneath it," Minna added. "Fear of change. Fear of losing power." Jin-Ho felt the energy beginning to recede from his body, leaving him exhausted but clear-headed. "What now?" he asked the twins. "We can't exactly take him to the conference as our prisoner." Era placed a gentle hand on Lee's forehead. The general flinched but couldn't seem to pull away. "We will show him," she said softly. "What the future could be," Minna continued, placing her hand alongside her sister's. The general's eyes widened, his expression shifting from anger to shock, then to something Jin-Ho couldn't quite identify. When the twins removed their hands, Lee slumped forward, breathing heavily. "What did you do to him?" Jin-Ho asked. "We showed him the truth," Era explained. "His truth," Minna clarified. "What he fears, and what he could become." Jin-Ho wasn't entirely comfortable with whatever lumidary ability they had just demonstrated, but he trusted them. Somehow, over these weeks together, that trust had become unshakable. "Can he be trusted now?" Jin-Ho asked skeptically. The twins exchanged a look. "His mind is processing," Era said. "The future is uncertain," Minna added, "but he will not hinder us now." Jin-Ho secured the general with restraints anyway, and they commandeered the shuttle Lee and his mercenaries had arrived in. As they plotted a direct course to Proxima Station, Jin-Ho looked at the twins with new respect and perhaps a touch of wariness. "You're full of surprises," he said quietly. The twins' skin shimmered with a new color, a warm golden glow that Jin-Ho had never seen before. "As are you," they replied in unison. Jin-Ho stood at attention before the Coalition Council, his dress uniform pressed and perfect. Beside him, Era and Minna glowed with a serene blue light, their formal lumidary robes flowing around them like liquid silver. The Grand Chamber fell silent as High Chancellor Ortega rose to address them. "Lieutenant Commander Park Jin-Ho, Ambassadors Era and Minna of the Lumidary Collective," the Chancellor announced. "The Coalition owes you a debt that cannot easily be repaid. Your actions have secured peace between our worlds and the Vosgian Empire, ending the century of conflict." Jin-Ho maintained his stoic expression, though he felt a flutter of pride from the twins through their empathic bond. The peace conference had been a success beyond anyone's expectations, with the twins' empathic abilities creating a field of truth during negotiations. Even the most hardened military leaders have found common ground. Furthermore, the Chancellor continued, "Your exposure of General Lee's conspiracy has allowed us to identify and remove other elements within our ranks who sought to undermine peace for personal gain." General Lee himself sat in the gallery, his face solemn. After the twins had used their abilities on him at the mining outpost, he had undergone a profound change. He had not only confessed to his crimes, but had helped identify his co-conspirators. Jinho still wasn't entirely sure what the twins had shown him, but it had transformed the once stenophotic general into an advocate for interspecies cooperation. "Lieutenant Commander Park," said the Chancellor, "in recognition of your extraordinary service, the Council promotes you to the rank of Commander and offers you command of our new Diplomatic Security Division." Jinho bowed slightly. "Thank you, Chancellor. I am honored by the offer."